Thank you for staying with us, dear viewers. President Sisi has directed the government to enhance national plans to increase reliance on renewable energy and maximize its value to diversify energy sources for the development process. This came in a meeting with various government ministers to follow up on the country's strategy for new and sustainable energy, as well as electrical feeding for national development projects. The meeting was attended by the Prime Minister, the Ministers of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Planning and Economic Development and Finance. With us now here in the studio is Dr. Karam, the Technical Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy, to shed light on the topic. Thank you very much, Dr. Megid, for joining us. A great pleasure to have you with us. And sir, first of all, how important is it at this stage, indeed, to enhance the national plans on reliance on renewable energy?
Good morning, first of all. Yes, this period in general of where the globe in general, the entire globe is witnessing challenges regarding fuel supplies, regarding food security, etc., is in fact highlighting how important is renewable adoption on national and global level, and regional, of course, for example, yes, the European Commission.
Yes.
What we are seeing right now is somehow walking the talk. We have been a lot talking about renewable energy, and I'm not speaking about Egypt, I'm speaking about the entire world, and to the extent that only 1/4 of the electricity installed capacities worldwide is from renewable, while many countries announce targets of up to 100% renewable without knowing how to achieve that exactly. For us in Egypt, we were more realistic, more, I would say, focusing on the realities. And the reliance on renewable energy is not only for environmental consideration, which was a motivation for long period for Europe, for example, for America, for the Western community, but it is for us part of the economic development and social development, I would say, ambitions in Egypt. So, in fact, lately, for example, the European Commission and the European countries realized how important to diversify the energy mix. And it is really important that you rely on your own resources, your national resources, whatever these resources are. And to have somehow the mix that would allow you to sustain without being affected too much with the external factors. And this is what we call resilience, that you can absorb shocks worldwide. For us in Egypt, it was clear that we are adopting renewable energy because of many reasons. First of all, the political commitment that we need to improve the situation for the future generation, sustainability, the terminology, I'm sorry, of sustainability. But beside that, in fact, the value created from using renewable energy in Egypt is tremendous. First of all, the fuel saving. And knowing that we are relying mostly on natural gas, and knowing now in this period of the history that natural gas is really expensive worldwide, and you can generate substantial income by just
exporting it.
If you add to this, putting it in petrochemical industries, this is another value. So, as a fuel saver only, renewable energy has a very good merit. But you can add to that you are putting, in fact, job opportunities. You are mobilizing local contractors as international developers, and you are attracting foreign direct investments. So putting all this together, these socio-economic development aspects, together with the energy security, together with the environmental consideration, together with the proving that we are doing our best, and when we are hosting the conference of parties for the climate change,
yes,
we are really committed to a better future for the entire globe, for the entire Earth. So how this commitment is manifested somehow. In fact, one of the things that very few times we refer to this. We refer, Egypt is among the few countries worldwide that includes renewable energy in the constitution. The constitution of Egypt, in fact, entail Egypt to use renewable energy as part of its mix. So on the highest legal document in Egypt, you have this component. And then once this umbrella was created, Egypt moved fast with the legal framework, institutional framework, attracting private investment. And we've spoken several episodes before on this. But right now, it is clear that when we are announcing this very ambitious target that we have now of 42%, that would attract 42% of the electricity mix would be from renewable.
That's by year what?
2035,
Okay.
within 13 years from now. This can be quantified into 60 billion US dollar investments, international and national.
That's a huge number.
60 billion.
Dollars.
Yes, US dollars. And when you think about this massive investments that are being plugged into the Egyptian economy, you can think of the impact, the leverage impact that they would create on other sectors. And when you think about the numbers that you would like to have more than 60 gigawatts of renewables, while we are now around 6 and will be around 10 by the end of next year, by mid even next year. So 10-folds of the current capacities. And this would mean that we will have a pipeline of projects that would always be attractive for investors. So on utility scale projects, mega scale, we would have several projects very similar to the high dam each year. This is, in fact, we should be very proud of this. This is one side. The other side, that don't forget that we had the past 10 years we faced two revolutions, and COVID-19 pandemic, and now the
Russia-Ukraine war.
But Egypt successfully achieved its target of reaching 20% renewable energy by the year 2020. This was the initial target. We achieved it in the year 2022. Only 2 years lag, despite that we had
the COVID.
Again, the word resilience comes very much here. We have the power to recover. We have this resilience. We have this ability to achieve. So renewable energy is somehow a symbol of many successes. Success in developing energy security, success in attracting investors. And by the way, the word attracting investor is a huge word, because you know that money is not
money is shy usually.
They say it like that. And in fact we did it by the concept of win and learn. So we as the former chairman of NREA, Dr. Mohammed Sobki, was saying in 2017 and 2018, he was saying that we were eating while cooking. So we were doing the developments very fast and learning by doing through the process. And instead of waiting to do everything right and then announce it. No, we will do it, we'll learn. But
trial and error.
Not really trial and error, because it was very well planned, but it was somehow like you have made all the essentials, but you will not wait for the final fine-tune.
Yeah, because we didn't have the luxury to do
we
so.
do not. Yeah, exactly. We didn't have the luxury at that time. Now we have a surplus, so we can do that. But we are saying no. We are committed to continue. But
wonderful.
But at that time, when you look into attracting investments, this means that you need to have bankable contractual documents, convincing for the international financing institutions like World Bank,
yes,
like EBRD, like others. And you need to have also the confidence of the developer of the project that the contract will be implemented. So they call it the off-taker confidence, that the electricity they will sell to Egypt, because from the renewable resource, they would be rewarded with a good price that ensure them a good return on investment. And the most important, that they can stay in Egypt for more than 20 years, 25 years in the case of wind energy. So these are long-term investment. And also they have the flexibility to go into mergers, acquisitions, and so on in the market.
And the legislation has made that possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And above that all, just before 2015 and 16, it was not even permissible that private sector install a single system. But
And now the government is calling on the private sector
the
to
legal
be a
framework,
major partner in
yes,
this. Yes.
the legal framework was reformed to allow several possibilities through large-scale utility projects, through decentralized solutions, through tendered owned by the utility, state-owned projects, and so on. Projects in partnerships, public-private partnerships, projects with the industry, which is called now, a new term is being emerging worldwide, captive market or corporate sourcing of renewables. When you see a big company, big private company that produce whatever in the market, and then, for example, telecommunication, and they are mandated because of the CSR and also because of some, I would say, consideration, carbon footprint consideration, and so on. They are using solar energy to power their own facilities, their own factories, and so on. And this is now, in fact, getting a good momentum. Another part of the equation that you are now with renewables. I'm jumping from one point to the other.
No, you're a perfect. This is a perfect lecture, actually. Allow me to say so. The microphone is you're making it easy, by the way, for the TV presenter.
Thank you.
You're making our job easy
so
because
kind.
you're such a good lecturer, actually, Dr. Megat. Please continue.
I'll give you one important change that Egypt has announced. I wouldn't say change, I would say development. Moving toward the green hydrogen. And the term green hydrogen...
that was going to be my next question, by the way, yes.
Excellent. So you are an engineer.
Formerly, yes. Formerly, yes.
No one is former engineer. Engineer is an engineer always. Studying engineering is... okay. Hydrogen, of course, we know hydrogen is a colorless gas. No color, no smell. So where the word green come from?
Yeah.
Green means that we are producing this from renewable electricity, and we use water in a device called the electrolyzer that split water into hydrogen and oxygen. Water is H2O.
H2O, yes.
So hydrogen and oxygen. So this is a concept that till now has only a minor share, only 2 or 3% of the international hydrogen economy worldwide. But still, it is projected that it would prevail in the coming 3 to 4 decades. How hydrogen is produced now? It's produced in a way that is mostly, they call it gray. Gray hydrogen is from natural gas through a process called steam methane reforming. This process is burning gas at the end. So it pollutes the environment. So a part of, and hydrogen itself is a commodity, it has its own market and it can be used in fertilizer industry, ammonia, steel production, several metal production, as a catalyst, for example, in many processes, also in production of LCDs, transistors, electronics in general. So the entire revolution of smart equipments rely on hydrogen in to a certain extent on the production. It can be also used in the food industry, and we know that hydrogenated oils and so on, and it is used also for space and as a fuel, and also as a source of water and electricity in the space in a device called fuel cell. So it has plenty of applications. Theoretically, when we were speaking about decarbonizing the economy, it was difficult because we are only, for the past 20, 30 years, we were only discussing decarbonizing the electricity sector only. But moving into hydrogen and having hydrogen produced by renewable energy, green hydrogen, mean that we are going to sectors that were hard to abate before, where it was difficult to decarbonize these sectors. And this means that you can have, for example, green steel, green ammonia, and
Wow.
so on. And so you can export this to countries that have somehow strict rules toward the environment. And this would be the European Commission for sure. So in the future, and this is not a far future, this is a near future, Europe is going to have what is called carbon taxation on the border. And this carbon taxation would mean that if you are producing a product in a country that is polluting the environment with a high carbon footprint, you would be taxed, so your product would be more expensive to enter the market. This is a privilege given to green products.
Right.
So by moving into green hydrogen economy, we are from the early adopter of green commodities in general. Green steel, green ammonia, and so
And
on.
we'll be able to compete.
Will be able to compete. This is one thing. And also we are now positioning ourselves as a hub for energy. The natural gas hub, as electricity interconnections, etc. But with this positioning, you are also becoming a hub for green hydrogen. And you can imagine one of the beauty of the green hydrogen here, that even you can use the hydrogen together with carbon to produce fuels similar to what we are using right now.
Wow.
Even aviation fuel, diesel, shipping fuel. So when you think that Egypt has made the decision that the free zone of the Suez Canal is going to host several projects of green hydrogen production, this is logical.
Has the world reached that technology for sure now? I mean, Dr. Megat,
It is-
I mean, are we 100% sure we're going to be able to do it as humankind, or are there still some technological elements to be learned?
Okay. I've been investing Nile TV now for around 12 years. 10 years ago, we were saying solar photovoltaic is really expensive, but we need to work with it because this is the future. Right now, solar photovoltaic, solar panels, is the cheapest source of electricity globally, worldwide,
Yes.
with prices of electricity in Egypt 2 cents per kilowatt hour, while the average price of electricity is more than 5 cents, even 6 cents now. 119. This is what Dr. Madbouli announced this 2 days ago. That the electricity real price now in Egypt, the cost is 119 piasters, almost 120. So this is almost 6 cents.
Yes.
So you are producing renewable electricity with 2 cents. So electricity is much cheaper, of course, from renewable. So you are competing. The problem where is the electrolyzer technology. And surprisingly, this was a very clever, I would say, direction from His Excellency President Sisi. Also 2 days ago, when he referred to trying to go into partnerships
Yes.
to produce electrolyzers in Egypt. And you should not invent them in Egypt. We can go in consortium, in partnerships, in franchise, whatever you can do. In having this technology produced in Egypt and exported to the globe. So the expensive part till now is the electrolyzer part. But what Egypt is doing is a very nice, I would say, approach. The approach that is being taken right now, that we are asking those developers interested in producing green hydrogen and exporting it to come with the client, the off-taker. So they have the renewable electricity from us, they bring the electrolyzer technology,
And the customer as well.
And the customer as well. So you have the entire value chain already in place from the early projects. And yes, it is bilateral. The markets need to develop more into new regulations, free markets, and so on. But as a start, this is a very good start. And what is projected right now is that similar to the learning curve in photovoltaic that allowed the prices to get very much cheaper, and the technology to become more proven, to become more reliable and competitive and matured. We call it maturity of technology. This also will happen with electrolyzers. And by the way, I don't know why Egypt is always part of the entire world history.
Because it's Egypt.
It's Egypt, yes. The first solar power plant worldwide was in Egypt here in 1913 in Maadi. The first electrolyzer big facility was in Aswan in the 60s. Although it is not...
at the time of the high down.
Yes, with schema. Unfortunately, just 3 years ago, it was upgraded to become using natural gas because we have plenty of natural gas. But in fact, it was green hydrogen without terming it green hydrogen till 3 years ago. So whenever you think about who started the action toward this green transition, you will be always finding Egypt in the hub and in the pivot of this, on the center of this transition.
Indeed.
So green hydrogen is one of the another part of the sectors that we are renewables would help a lot to decarbonize, and this is really important. That 1/3 of the emissions worldwide is coming from transportation sector.
I was going to say transportation. I was going to say transportation.
You are engineer, Dr. Mohammed. So what is happening here? Globally, there is not, I wouldn't say an initiative or a motivation, whatever. No, there are decisions being taken in several countries that they would switch fully to electric vehicles, electric cars. And not only electric cars, passenger cars, but also in the mass transportation sector. Trains.
Yeah, this is what's happening in, in the LRT that the president inaugurated recently. I mean, there is going to be dependence on electricity for fuel, and also when the monorail gets underway. I mean, that's the plan.
So we started. So we started moving in this. What we need to do more, in fact, is more aggressive action plan in transition to e-mobility, to electric cars, so that we have sufficient infrastructure that would allow any of us to be confident that when we buy an electric car, we would be able to charge it in several locations and will be able even to travel with it, use it within the city. Nevertheless, we started already. In fact, several of the automotive industry leaders, several of them announced that within 10 to 20 years, they will stop producing internal combustion engines relying on fossil fuels, and gasoline and diesel, solar, we call it solar in Egypt. And this means that even in just few decades, 2 decades, I assume, or 3 decades maximum, when we are buying cars, we will not find in the market these conventional, traditional cars. It will be like the horse cars. So you can imagine this transition happening, and countries are announcing targets for 100% electric cars in several countries in Europe. And in Asia, there is a very new alliance, strange alliance, that we see China teaming with Japan, teaming with South Korea and India. So you can see these competitors cooperate together. This is called cooperation of the competitors. They are teaming together to create hydrogen economy for the transportation sector. So they are using hydrogen to power fuel cells that would be injecting electric motors in a car. So even hydrogen, you can charge it similar to gasoline now in a car using a fuel cell to run the car with electricity. So although this is less efficient than the batteries that we are adopting in Europe, are adopting battery-based.
But it's less costly.
It
will be less costly.
It will be less costly, and it will offer an excellent opportunity for what? In areas that that do not have infrastructure for electricity, isolated, new development areas. Instead of having transmission lines all over these isolated communities from the centers of the production to the community, you can easily ship hydrogen in trucks and power these communities with electricity and with renewable electricity also, without the need to extend transmission line, which are really costly. And think about this for Africa. This would help solving the electricity access problem of Africa. So this is why you can see also African are looking into this future, and the leadership of Egypt, Morocco, and other countries in the green hydrogen, how this would make a change in the entire thinking of the energy access solutions in Africa. And we are leading Africa in this regard.
Your dictionary on renewable energy, Dr. Megid. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have here, dear viewers. On behalf of you, we thank very much our distinguished guest, Dr. Megid Karam, the Technical Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy. We hope to see you again, because this topic has a lot to be said about and to be learned from. Thank you very much, Dr. Megid, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. My dear colleague Amal Mukhtar will be here shortly to resume the breakfast show. Don't go away.